Some stories don't begin with a bang. Some begin with silence, with still water, and a life slowly being forgotten. But even in the quietest moments, hope can shimmer, and kindness can create a ripple that changes everything. This is a heartwarming tale for every child, every family, and every animal lover, reminding us that every life, no matter how small, holds immense value. In the corner of a small countryside village, hidden behind tall reeds and whispering willow trees, there was a pond. Not a grand lake, not a famous river, just a humble, shallow pond fed by gentle spring rain and cool mountain dew. But to the creatures within, it was a vibrant, bustling world, a watery home filled with life and laughter. Among them was a bright orange goldfish named Sora. He wasn't the biggest fish, nor the fastest swimmer, but Sora had a curious heart, always eager to explore, and eyes that sparkled with a dreamer's wonder. He loved to follow the dancing shadows of dragonflies as they zipped across the water's surface. He played endless games of hide-and-seek beneath the broad green lily pads, giggling with his friends. Every morning, Sora greeted the other fish with joyful swirls and playful bubbles, a tiny beacon of happiness in their watery community. Life was simple, safe, and wonderfully familiar. The pond was a haven, a place where every day brought new discoveries and shared moments of joy. The sun warmed the water, the plants provided shelter, and the gentle currents carried whispers of adventure. Then, slowly, almost imperceptibly, the world began to change. The cheerful spring rains became less frequent, and the summer sun grew hotter, lingering longer in the sky. At first, no one noticed much. A sunny day here, a dry breeze there. It felt like a normal, warm season. But weeks passed, and the water in the pond began to shrink, little by little, day by day. The edges of their world started to pull inward. The pond, once wide and welcoming, became tighter, its boundaries closing in. Mud began to creep in from the banks, slowly claiming more space. The vibrant green plants, once lush and full of life, started to wither and turn brown, their leaves curling in the heat. The dragonflies, who once danced so freely above the water, stopped coming. Their iridescent wings were no longer a familiar sight. A quiet unease settled over the pond. The bigger fish, sensing the growing danger, were the first to leave. With desperate leaps, they pushed themselves into the narrow stream that still connected their shrinking pond to the larger flowing river beyond. It was a risky journey, but a necessary one for survival. Sora watched them go, a knot of fear and longing tightening in his tiny heart. He wanted to go too, to follow his friends to safety. He swam to the very edge of the shrinking stream, gathering all his courage. He could feel the pull of the current, strong and swift. A powerful force that promised escape, but also held the threat of being swept away. He was small and the current seemed so fast, so overwhelming. A wave of doubt washed over him. "I'll try tomorrow," he told himself, his little fins trembling. "Tomorrow I'll be brave enough. Tomorrow, I'll make the leap." It was a promise he made to himself, a whisper of hope against a rising tide of fear. But tomorrow never came for the stream. By the very next day, the narrow connection to the river had dried to a mere trickle, then to nothing at all. The path to safety was gone, and Sora, the curious, dreaming goldfish, was left completely alone in the shrinking pond. The silence that followed was deafening, a stark contrast to the lively world he once knew. The sky grew hotter, a relentless burning blue. The pond shrank smaller and smaller, becoming little more than a muddy puddle. Every day, Sora woke up to less water and more silence. The ground around him cracked and split, forming dry, dusty patterns. The wind, once a gentle whisper through the reeds, now carried only dust and the faint, sad echoes of what once was. The joyful songs of the frogs had vanished, replaced by an eerie quiet. Still, Sora waited. He held onto a tiny spark of hope, a flicker in his brave little heart. Maybe the rains would come, a sudden downpour to replenish his world. Maybe someone would remember this forgotten corner of the village, this tiny pond and the life within it. Maybe, just maybe, he wouldn't be forgotten entirely. He dreamed of the old days, of sunlight shimmering on the water, creating dancing patterns on the pond's floor. He longed for the playful chases with his friends, the feeling of belonging, of being part of a vibrant community. Now, even the broad lily pad he once hid under, his favourite spot for quiet contemplation, had curled and died, a brittle reminder of what was lost. His gills burned in the warm, shallow puddle that remained. His movements slowed, each fin stroke a struggle. The world was vanishing around him, shrinking to nothing more than a few inches of murky water. And just as he began to close his eyes, whispering silent goodbyes to a sky he had never truly touched, accepting his fate, a shadow appeared. Not the shadow of a dragonfly, nor a willow branch, but something new, something unexpected. A young girl from the village, barefoot and filled with a quiet curiosity, had wandered into the forgotten field. Her name was Ilara, and she often explored the hidden corners of her world, her heart open to its quiet wonders. Her eyes, sharp and observant, caught a flicker of orange, faint, struggling, barely moving in the muddy water. It was Sora, a tiny spark of life against the dying landscape. She gasped, a soft sound of surprise and concern. Her heart went out to the struggling fish. Without a moment's hesitation, Ilara turned and ran back home, her bare feet flying over the dusty ground. Her mind was set. She grabbed a bucket, filled it with fresh, cool water from the well, and returned with a determined spirit. With careful, gentle hands, she reached into the dying mud and lifted Sora, ever so tenderly, placing him into the clean, cool water of the bucket. Sora blinked. He took a deep, refreshing breath. He swam, slowly at first, then with growing strength, feeling the cool water embrace him. He was alive. A wave of relief, so profound it felt like a miracle, washed over his tiny body. Ilara didn't stop there. Her kindness knew no bounds. She knew this small bucket was only a temporary haven. She carried him carefully, walking through fields and over gentle hills, until she reached a nearby riverbank, far from the drying fields and the forgotten pond. This was a place of flowing water, of life and movement. With a soft smile, she released him into the current. A new world, a second chance. Sora paused at the river's edge, feeling the strong, steady flow of the water. He looked back at Ilara, his tiny eyes conveying a silent thank you. Not just for the rescue, but for remembering that even the smallest life, even a forgotten goldfish, truly matters. He swam away, not as the forgotten goldfish of a forgotten pond, but as a soul reborn in flowing water. He explored his new, vast home, feeling the thrill of discovery once more. He was free, alive, and filled with a renewed sense of purpose. This heartwarming story of Sora and Ilara teaches us so much. We often forget the quiet ones, the small lives left behind when the world moves too fast. But every life, no matter how tiny, how silent, how overlooked, deserves a second chance. It reminds us of the incredible power of kindness, how one simple act can bring life back to a fading heart. For our young friends, remember Sora's bravery and Ilara's kindness. You have the power to make a difference, to help others, and to show compassion to every living thing, big or small. Just like Ilara, your actions can bring hope and joy to someone who needs it most. For families, this story is a beautiful reminder to look out for one another, to teach our children empathy, and to appreciate the delicate balance of nature. It shows us that even in moments of despair, hope can emerge from the most unexpected places, often through the simple act of caring. For animal lovers, Sora's journey highlights the resilience of animals and the profound impact humans can have on their lives. It encourages us to be mindful of our environment and to protect the creatures who share our world, ensuring they too have a chance to thrive. Maybe you felt like Sora, left behind, waiting, watching the world dry up around you while others leap ahead. But sometimes, just when you think it's over, someone notices. Sometimes salvation comes when hope is almost gone. Never underestimate your worth, and never forget the power of kindness, how one act can bring life back to a fading heart. If this story touched your heart, leave a comment below. Share a time when someone gave you hope, or when you gave it to someone else. Like this video if you believe even the smallest lives deserve to be remembered and cherished. And subscribe for more stories that awaken the soul and remind us of the beauty of compassion. May your days be filled with flowing waters, and may you always find your river, even if it takes time.